And that's why these are truly outstanding. What's going on, fellow blade lovers? This year has been a truly jaw-dropping year for pocket knives. And in today's video, I'm gonna reveal the 10 best pocket knives that we reviewed this year and what makes them so good. I'm gonna also share with you the 3 biggest flops that we tested here at the Blade Bootcamp. So hang on, guys, it's gonna be a wild ride as we got tools ranging from $10 to $350. I even got a slip joint option for those of you who need that, and everything in between as we unpack why these are worth throwing in your pocket. So I'm Aaron, this is Gideonstactical. Thanks for hanging with me and my co-host today, Yukon Cornelius, the toughest, roughest prospector north of the Arctic Circle, taking out bumbles left and right. We could learn a thing or two about Yukon Cornelius. And if you guys are interested in Yukon Cornelius merch, I found some on Amazon. That's where I picked up this hoodie. So I'll have a link in the description box below this video to some Yukon Cornelius merch if you're down with picking that up for the holidays. And if you're like, who the heck is Yukon Cornelius? Just YouTube it, you'll figure it out right away. And we begin with the Work Pro utility knife. This thing is an ultra slim, ultra light, fast acting, replaceable bladed utility knife. And I bought a 3-pack for $10. That's how much I paid for this little thing. Now, we're all familiar with the Milwaukee Fastback at this point in time. It's super fast action, you know, really cool design and very functional, but it's very bulky, bright red, and kind of like, great for a job site. But if you're looking for something that's a lot slimmer, a lot lighter weight, that you could maybe throw in like a 5th coin pocket or throw in a little EDC kit and get, you know, like a pack, this thing is a great alternative because it has a full handle so I can get full grip on it, be able to manipulate and use it, has that push button lock that holds up well for basic cuts and not quite as fast and easy as the Fastback, but pretty fidget friendly, and has that deep ride loop over pocket clip on that frame. So it's a very lightweight option to carry on your person when a pocket knife just doesn't make sense, or this is a great stocking stuffer to hook a bunch of friends and family up with, or to carry on your person when you have that nice knife and you don't want to give it to a buddy who's asking to borrow a blade because you don't know if they're going to treat it right. You can toss this to them. Who gives a rip what they do with them? So this little Work Pro, and there are a couple other brands now that are kind of making very similar options, is our first on the list and a great little pocket knife because it has a blade and it fits in your pocket. So I'm calling it a pocket knife for our top 10 of the year. It just shows that you don't have to break the bank to get cutting tasks done. And let me know, do you use replaceable bladed utility knives or do you stick with dedicated pocket knives? And guys, I'll do my best to have links in the description box below this video to the affiliate networks that I regularly partner with. So if one of these designs makes sense for you, either gift to a loved one this holiday season or you want to hook up yourself with to update your EDC system for the new year, those will all be included below. Now, for those of you who just can't leave your knives alone and you got to be modifying it, tricking them out all the time, the Flytanium Arcade is the blade for you, and I really have enjoyed this knife. Now, this claim to fame is that it is designed to be modified. That is the idea, that you can modify and change out the thumb studs. These handle scales, inserts, are swappable. You can get all kinds of different materials from like copper to titanium to micarta. I don't even know, I think that's just like a polymer. I mean, there's all kinds of different material that you can swap out there and a few other attributes that you can trick out and constantly be modifying and playing around with. Now, add to that it has the Demco spine lock, shark lock, so it's on the spine, if you're not familiar with that. Very cool, very fidget friendly, very strong. It's a very durable lock. If you know anything about Andrew Demco, he's made and been a part of the designing of tons of cold steels, like most durable knives that they've ever made. So very good tool. I really like it a lot. High saber grind right there with that little bit of a clip point. Lots of different color combinations. Now, it will be a pretty penny. You're gonna pay about $200 to $220, I think is what I paid for this particular model, the all blacked out version. And again, there are lots of accessories. So getting into it will cost you a little bit, but then it's kind of like you can scratch that itch of modification all year round with this style of tool. And leave a comment and let me know, do you like tricking out your gear and tools, or you prefer to just buy it once and not think about it again? Now I'm about to reveal the first of our 3 flops that just did not impress me that we tested out this year, but I want to help you guys out. And if you're tired of hunting around the internet trying to pick out the perfect gift for that loved one in your life, I want to bring to your attention HUCKBERRY and the amazing selection of gear and equipment that they carry, and that's why they are today's sponsor, because they not only carry tons of awesome American-made apparel and gear. As an example, they have an excellent selection of Leatherman multi-tools, as well as the Flint & Tinder brand of 10-year hoodies and wax trucker jacket series that are both sourced and made right here in the USA, along with a large selection of other EDC gear and equipment. Plus, they partner with many trusted brands, creating exclusive designs like Mystery Ranch backpacks and Danner boots that you can't find anywhere else. And if you act now, you can get your items shipped to you by Christmas, and many of their items, they offer free returns through January 2024. So I'll have a link in the description below this video over to the HUCKBERRY website, as well as my exclusive 10% off promo code that you can apply towards your very first purchase. So I invite you to hop on over there and check out all they got to offer. Now our first flop comes from WE Knives, and it's the press check. I was really anticipating and excited to get my hands on this blade. It really seemed to have a lot of materials and design characteristics that I really connected with, had a lot of different options and just style that connect with me. But when I got it in my hand, the downfall was that the handle was short and tapered down quite abruptly, making it almost like a 3-fingered knife, and my hand didn't really know where to fit and where to grip it well. And in conjunction with the way the pocket clip was designed, created a hot spot and just was something that I didn't enjoy carrying at all because the handle was too small. A lot of times that's what I'm finding more and more recently, is that handles are the Achilles heel of a good design. If those aren't executed well, then we're not obviously gonna use the tool. And sadly, the press check, though it had so many things going for it, fell short because of its shrunk down handle. And let me know what the biggest handle disappointment you've ever experienced on a pocket knife. Now I'm breaking my own rule here with this next knife because it's just so good. Now my rule is, in these best of videos, is that it's a knife that I've reviewed in the calendar year that we're talking about, and in this case, 2023. So, and I always get these comments like, well, what about this pocket knife? You know, like, oh, this one's so great, or this one's so good. Yes, but I didn't review it. Either I reviewed it in years past, or I haven't gotten my hands on it yet, so it doesn't make this list. I haven't made a dedicated video on this knife yet. I just haven't had the time. I got it a few months back, and it is mind-blowingly good for the value and just the materials. It's an excellent tool, and I'm talking about the Vosteed Raccoon with the crossbar lock, specifically the crossbar. I've heard some kind of with the button lock, crossbar lock version, and I am in love. I mean, this thing will freaking fly you to the moon. Fly me to the moon. I mean, and there's many reasons for that. One is value. It's coming in like 50 to 60 bucks, depending on where you pick it up, versions, you know, it's a great value. Now, it has Sandvik 14C28N steel, which is my preference when we're talking about overseas, you know, Chinese-made budget knives in this price range. Most are D2, and I like, if you have a choice, you're like, do you want to, if I was making my own overseas knife like that, and I had a choice, you can do D2 or Sandvik, I would make it in Sandvik. I would pick Sandvik, I choose it, I just like the way it performs a little bit better, it's more rust resistant, I just like it. That's just my personal preference. That's where I sit with that. And so the blade shape is superb. Basically the highest saber grind you could ever have. It does have a flat here, but it's so high up on the blade. Beautiful drop point. This one happens to have like a black acid wash kind of vibe to it. You can get satin versions, and, you know, I'm sure stone wash. There's lots of variants out there. So lots of color combinations. I just went with like, the one drawback, I wish it was Stormtrooper. I wish all the hardware was black. That would just like the next level. But we have flow through construction, dense handle, excellent recessed screws, loop over, ambidextrous, rides so well with stainless steel liners that are milled and machined, so just feels so good. And the crossbar lock has a really protruding, like well engaging bar that's just so smooth on bronze caged ball bearings. So ball bearings, I believe they're ceramic, and then caged around bronze housing. So it's just like so fast, so snappy, so smooth, fills out the hand really well, and then gives you a nice large platform that you can basically use it as a choil. Leave a comment, let me know, do you hate that? Or are you like, no, I'm totally down with that. Very, very good for the value, for the price point, mind-blowing, and they really executed this blade well. And as up to this point, I can't find a thing that I don't like about it, except for not having blacked out hardware. And let me know, when you're looking at budget knives, do you prefer D2 steel or Sandvik 14C 28N? And guys, if you enjoy this type of content, I do invite you to hit that like button and to consider subscribing, becoming part of the Gideonstactical crew here. Make sure to hit that bell icon so that you can be notified every week when I put up new gear reviews and content, helping you better stay equipped and prepared for whatever life throws your way. Now, those of you who require slip joints or just enjoy a good slip joint, I have not forgot about you. And there is one blade this year that we tested that I was really impressed with, and it's the Buck Knives Saunter. Wow. Not only is just the style, because sometimes slip joints can kind of be like, they just kind of look bland. This one is aggressive and just beautiful to look at. Full flat grind, which is kind of unusual for Buck. You know, they're known for their hollow grind, so I love the thin geometry of a full flat on 154 CM steel, American made, that beautiful little clip point. I know they did have a different blade shape as well. I believe that is available. This is the tan micarta. There are a couple different color combinations. The hardware is screwed in, so it's not pins, so that you can take it apart, disassemble if you need to. What I really liked about it, on top of just kind of the profile and just the design, is value. Comes in at just over $100 usually, but it was really the grip. Even though it's a really compact, lightweight blade, the grip, the way it's designed, my pinky had a really nice platform to rest and didn't create a hot spot. So I felt like I had full grip on this pretty compact tool, meaning that I could easily like do woodworking if I wanted to and whittle around a campsite or on the porch, you know, after dinner, and it didn't create any sort of issues for somebody who has a large size hand. It does have a lanyard slit, so that's a big positive as well. And then really good tension. So you have to overcome the first and then it'll suck it in there on the back. The tension is very strong. So I really like that, with a very good, strong snap. So Buck just hit it out of the park. And if you have to, for whatever reason, carry a slip joint or you just enjoy slip joints, this is an excellent, excellent option. I was really impressed. And let me know if where you live forces you to carry slip joints. Now, our second flop has a little bit of a redemption story, and I believe it's in part to you guys, the viewers, partnering with me and content creators like me, giving feedback to builders, designers, and creators, and seeing some fixes and tweaks in the industry. And I'm talking about the CRKT Definitive. Now, I tested this along with the LCK, I believe is the other design. It was CRKT's jump into American-made crossbars. So they partnered with Hogue. Hogue does excellent work to create these blades. And initially I was really excited, looking forward to it. There are some attributes, you know, that I would like to see, like ambidextrous aspects that aren't there. But the two main issues were, one, price. With 154 CM steel, which is decent, they were wanting over $200 at launch, and it stayed like that for quite a while. It was like $215, which you can get tons of other blades with much better steel for that price. And then secondly, this Definitive, originally the first version I got, and many of you apparently it was an issue, it was floating, the tip was so raised that it bit me and was basically unsafe to carry and unsafe to use. So CRKT saw that feedback, they updated and basically fixed the batches, and now sent me another one, and the tip is buried inside there. You couldn't get it into it if you wanted to. So that is the first thing that's really good, and it was awesome to see them respond to the feedback and make a change. Excellent. As well as, I was just on Blade HQ when I'm making this video, and this is $170, which is much more reasonable for the materials. So these are a little bit more inexpensive, and now the tip is buried. So it wouldn't be a bad option if you're wanting to try this out and you like the harpoon blade shape and the overall profile. At that price, and now that the tip is buried, it wouldn't be a bad option to pursue. And share your story. What's the last knife that bit you? Now, we all know the statement that says a survival knife is the knife that you have on you. Well, if you truly want to live that out, the Cold Steel 5 Max would be the blade you should be considering, because this knife is 13 ounces, 5-inch blade, 0.19 on the thickness, S35 VN with the epic triad locking mechanism. This thing was so much fun to test out, and it is ridiculously capable. It gives you 3 different grip points. You have a full choke up that you could easily manipulate and work the tool. I mean, that's as broad basically as a Becker BK2. I mean, that's how broad that blade is. Then you can have your standard grip, and that feels great. Then you have your backup grip that you can chop and or swing and use for extra distance. And with that thick a triad lock, though I never recommend batoning with a tool, we did it without any wiggling issues, damage whatsoever. Chopped with this thing, the shock it was able to take all day long, very high, flat grind. I mean, you could put this in your pocket and carry this around camp and really just take like a machete and an axe and you'd be totally covered. I mean, you wouldn't need a smaller blade because this is just ridiculous. G10, this is a wild blade. Of course, it's gonna cost you, you know, I mean, I believe it's $330, I think, $330. So, I mean, it's a pretty penny, it's an investment, but if you just love huge, massive blades, you want a survival knife in your pocket at all times to call on at a moment's notice, the 5 Max, it'd be hard to do better than the 5 Max on every level. And I'd ask you to leave a comment and share what's the biggest pocket knife you've ever carried. Now, this knife sets a lot of precedents in a lot of different areas, and that's why I have to respect it. Even if the design is a little quirky to me, there's so many aspects to it that are gonna speak to the future that it needs to be recognized. And I'm talking about the Civivi Vision with the super lock right here. Let's see if we can get this thing to focus. Now, this lock is a spine lock, very similar to the Demco Shark lock, but apparently different in some way, I don't know. But my understanding is that it's an open source lock, that there's not a patent on the lock, and therefore that it can be applied to many different designs. And I did spine thwacks on this blade, I've done batoning with this knife, and it has held up, so it's very durable, very fidget friendly, super fast, and just a really fun action. And then we add to that the design right here. Now, for some of you, you'd be like, dude, that's really cool. For me, there's some quirks to it, but it is very functional. The sheep's foot design, the amazing sliciness, kind of like a kitchen cleaver a little bit right there. So, I mean, it's a high-performing tool, don't get me wrong. This is a very high-performing tool on Nitro V steel. Micarta handle scales, I love Micarta. You can get it with a few different variants. This is like a smoke gray. Loop over, deep ride pocket clip that's ambidextrous with a terrible pocket flare. That is one issue with the design. That thing needs to be like bent down. But 80 bucks. 80 bucks for this knife, with all of the form, function, and then just that very unique profile, but also very unique locking mechanisms. It means that not only does it give users who are on a budget access to some really standout, like just style, but then features and good materials, but also that what this means for the future of knife designing, particularly with the potential access to the super lock. So the Vision is a really interesting blade, very fun to use, and is going to be an option for some people who don't want to drop $200 on like a really unique design with a unique lock. You're going to get a lot of form and function and standout capability at a budget-friendly price. And let me know what you think about Micarta on pocket knives. Do you prefer it, or would you rather go with something else? Now, this blade is a very old design, but it has a complete refresh in profile and steel, and I'm talking about the Spyderco Stretch 2. Oh my gosh, I love this blade. I like it, like it's better than the Endura, I believe. Yeah, the Endura, which is just larger, and then the Delica is compact. This is like in the middle, has a dedicated choil where those do not. I don't mind that. And really big full handle, 3.5-inch blade. What's really cool is the upgraded, or updated, I call it an upgrade, blade shape over like the dodo bird of the original design, as well as the K390 steel. K390 is awesome For wear resistance, it is a high carbon, so mine has already showed some staining, and I am not in a very humid environment, so that's something you just need to be aware of. But the wear resistance is even better on average than M4 steel. So it is super impressive, scary sharp, and from my experience, because it's a high carbon, it's not too difficult to keep that scary edge on there. And I just like that kind of, I don't know what that color would be. Comment below, let me know what that color would be. And I paid $150 for this. So you're getting like insane steel, and you're not gonna have to, you know, drop $200–300 like a lot of blades are these days. Now it's very standard, basic, lockback, you know, all that stuff, but it's just simple. It's simple, and I connect with it, but it's giving me a more aggressive, more preferred, in my opinion, profile for the blade, and a mind-boggling steel. And let me know, do you prefer the classic lockback style or the more updated, high-speed, fidget-friendly types of locks? Now, hats off to Kershaw to create a design that has just really connected across the board when they released this in January of this 2023. And it's the Kershaw Iridium in their Duralock series. This design just continually sells out. I know they just released some new color combinations, as well as when they've done limited runs. I know that they did a 20 CV steel version that just sold out in like 24 hours. Is wild. So what kind of sets this apart is just one, the style. It's a very classy look. You're obviously getting a crossbar style of lock on ball bearings, so it's very snappy, very smooth. They really executed that Duralock system well. The blade shape and profile are kind of unique with that nice like leaf shape, but it's got a swedge there, high, flat, or saber grind. D2 steel, so good budget choice. Loop over, ambidextrous pocket clip. This one has kind of the copper back spacer, and then those aluminum scales that are contoured slightly. They're not just like flat square. You know, they have a little doming to them. And for like 65 bucks all day, 65 bucks, you're getting what feels like a $120 knife. That's what you're getting and what it feels like, but you're getting it at a value price point. It's just a great, fun design that feels like a really well executed, I'll say it, premium folder. It feels like that at that budget, you know, price. And now with just so many different handle styles and variants and options coming out all the time, and Kershaw just can't seem to keep these in stock. So well done, and it is an excellently executed everyday carry tool. And throw down a comment and let me know, if you had to commit to one locking mechanism for the rest of your life, would it be a crossbar lock or something else? Now, I have to say that Gerber really impressed me this year with some of their American-made offerings, and this one was kind of like a out-of-nowhere drop that really impressed me. This is the Gerber Assert. Now, what makes this different than many others, USA made obviously with S30V steel. We don't really see that steel as much. It's S35VN most people. S30V still great steel, good wear resistance, stainless, all that. Now, it comes in at under 2 ounces, so it's definitely competing with the bug out and the mini bug out from Benchmade. Very similarly priced, even though when I'm making this video, I saw these on sale at Blade HQ for $120, which I think if you're into really lightweight kind of compact blades, that's a great value. You got the crossbar style lock there. Did like a loop over recess pocket clip that's ambidextrous, so they did a really good job with that. But you can remove the thumb stud, and then you have a slit deployment, or you can adjust where you want this thumb stud to go depending on the size of your hand and how you want to deploy it. So Mrs. GT has actually usurped this, and this is her EDC. And I offered it this or the mini bug out to her. I said, which one do you want? She played around with them, and she's like, the Gerber. I way prefer the Assert to the Gerber, or to the Benchmade, just because of its ergonomics and just the way the action operated for her. So very cool, well executed, ultralight, and it kind of comes in between size ranges. It's ever so slightly bigger than the mini bug out, but smaller than the full size bug out. So it's kind of this in between. And leave a comment and let us know, do you prefer ultralight pocket knives, or do you not care about the weight? Now, our third and final flop is such a sad story to me. And honestly, if the steel was different on this blade, I would recommend it over any of the other budget crossbar locks, and I'm talking about the Gerber Scout. Oh my gosh, guys, everything about this design was so well executed. The drop point on that saber grind is beautiful. I love the slit open. The traction points that look like a tire on the crossbar lock, the like recess pivot, the pivot screw in the back is just a flathead, so you could work on it in the field if you needed to. I believe, if I remember correctly, this is on bronze. Yes, bronze washers, not bearings. From what I remember, there we go. Boom, but still nice and snappy. We have micarta handle scales with recess screws, loop over, ambidextrous, glass breaker, beautiful little hit points. I mean, there's nothing. Even the internal steel liners are milled. I mean, this is such a great, it's a little bit bulky, but I mean, fills out of the hand so good. Ergonomically, and just kind of like what it provides, I'd take that over a Griptilian any day of the week, and it doesn't have that like clacky sound flow through construction. And I think currently it's still like 60 bucks. This is the issue. 440A steel. What in the world? This is 2023. Guys, if this had Sandvik 14C 28N or even D2, I mean, I would just be over the moon. And we tested it out, and the 440A, though razor sharp, dulled out about twice as fast as a D2 steel blade. So it just doesn't hold its edge. Everything else about it, I want to see this exact knife, Sandvik 14C 28 preferred, 28 Rockwell, like 58 to 60, game over, bro. Same price. This, and I'll be honest, if you could score this for under 40, it'll perform like probably most of your 8CR steels out there is in edge retention is what you'll probably see. So this could have been an epic and would have made this list if it didn't have 440A steel in a pot, like it would have been on the positive side of this list. So there you go, the Scout from Gerber. And let me know, do you care more about the steel quality or the edge geometry in a pocket knife of this style? Here's the crescendo. We've come all the way to this, and if you were to ask me what was my favorite and most carried, most used pocket knife of the year, this is not a new design, but it's new to me, and now I understand why so many people love it, and it's the M4 version of the Benchmade Bailout. I got it early in the year, been carrying it all year long, and yes, I updated the handle scales. These are custom handle scales from AWT that I picked up that just take it to the next level. Got oversized bronze washers, so it has even better stability and just smoothness in the action. This is a mind-blowing tool. Not only is the M4 steel just so good, and it's just like the wear resistance is mind-boggling, but the way the blade shape is at 0.09, so it's so thin but so slicey and so capable. The Tanto is able to pierce, so I'm getting like practical use for EDC and also tactical use in a pinch if I had to. So it gives me that grip and feel, and because of the aluminum handle scales, they just like, oh, it feels so good. I put these on like last month and it's just like so dope. Oh my gosh. It just takes the whole ergonomic feel to the next level. So durable, but slim and lightweight, still well under 3 ounces, but it gives me also like full, like rigid feel. That's very important. A lot of those Benchmade like ultralight blades are just, kind of flexing. You can feel them and they feel clacky. This is solid and dense, just as is if you get the aluminum handle scale versions. And then if you upgrade them, it just takes it, again, just to the next level. Good deep ride loop over. Took out the glass breaker and ready to freaking rock and roll. So of all the blades that you've seen today, they're all great, but if you were to ask me like what's the one that you've carried the most, used the most, and has the most crossover capability for myself and how I use my pocket knives, it would be this Bailout. And let me know, what is the pocket knife that you have carried most this year? Well, guys, that's my list. I'm sticking to it. I hope that it has been fun, entertaining, but also informational to help you consider maybe for yourself or a loved one what might be a good tool to put in the pocket, start using in rotation. I cannot wait to see all the comments and your guys' feedback. I just appreciate interacting with you guys. You are an extended part of my family and just an amazing, amazing crew that we have here at Gideonstactical. And I just pray that you guys have an amazing Christmas, holiday season with your friends and family. Appreciate you guys so much. Check out the other video popping up if you haven't already subscribed. I invite you to subscribe. And until next time, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared. I'll see you out there.